This video is Bertrand Renault's project for his CapCut class at the Ung-Su Senior Academy in the fall of 2024. To celebrate its 146th anniversary, the Cosmos Club planned to hold a conversation with two trailblazing women who were members of the club. A few prior words about the club might be helpful. The club founder was Major John Wesley Powell, who played an important role in mapping out the western part of the United States. A man of many interests, he was an explorer, a geologist, an anthropologist, a philosopher, and a poet. With other men dedicated to the public good, he created the Cosmos Club in 1878. Over 146 years, the purpose of the Cosmos Club has not changed. Members of the club have achieved distinction in their field. Money is never a criterion for admission. The Cosmos Club reflects the scientific and cultural history of the U.S. over the past 150 years. The club today has about 3,000 members who form some 30 interest groups holding around 70 meetings per month. The club has reciprocity agreements with 220 clubs in major cities of 40 countries. It is housed in the splendid 19th century residence of railroad heiress Matilda Townsend. Today's program has three parts. First, there will be the cutting of the cake in the Powell Room. Then members of the club will have dinner on the second floor, followed by the conversation with the two trailblazing women members of the club. The conversation took place between astronaut Sandy Magnus, naval fighter pilot and robotics pioneer Missy Cumming, and writer and Pulitzer Prize winner Shane Harris. To open the conversation, Shane Harris asked the questions. Sandy, Missy, you have each followed exceptional paths. Who inspired you? What have you learned along the way? As a student, Sandy enjoyed science, physics, and engineering. Then she discovered that there was a path to join NASA and, maybe, become an astronaut. Sandy became an astronaut candidate in 1996. Soon, she was involved in international work with other space agencies around the world, including stays in Russia for technical work, and she truly enjoyed the team spirit of the culture of astronauts. Then she flew for space missions between 2002 and 2012. Space missions, Sandy carried out a variety of scientific and engineering assignments. In the space station, the challenge is to stay fit under microgravity, which is a constant reminder of Newton's law. Sandy's achievements include a stay of 4.5 months in the space station as flight engineer and science officer. During that stay, she traveled more than 50 million miles. In 2012, she became the executive director of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. Then, in 2022, Sandy was inducted in the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame. Missy Cummings is one of the first ever woman Navy fighter jet pilots. She is also a robotics pioneer. A Navy brat, Missy attended the U.S. Naval Academy, where she graduated in 1988 with a BA in mathematics. She went to flight school. The movie Top Gun had come out in 1986. For more than 3 years, Missy flew F-4 and F-18 fighter jets. On these powerful planes, one is totally relying on oneself. Missy said that being all alone and in control gives the pilot an intoxicating sense of power. One day, a tragedy changed the course of Missy's life. On that particular day, pilots were doing the bounce pattern. Wives and girlfriends were watching. One of Missy's peers was doing a touch and go. Suddenly, something went wrong. The aircraft flipped over and killed the pilot. The accident report said it was a pilot error. It was all his fault, but the scientific truth was different. By that time, aircraft designs far exceeded the cognitive capacities of humans. After 10 years with the military, Missy went to graduate school and got her PhD in space systems engineering. Missy then had a distinguished career studying the interactions between humans and engineering systems. After several years at Virginia Tech, she spent over a decade at MIT in the Department of Aeronautics and Astronautics, went to Duke University, and is currently the founding director of the Autonomy and Robotics Center at George Mason University. In her book, Hornet's Nest, Missy describes what life was like as a pioneer woman fighter pilot among men. After listening to Sandy and Missy, Club Vice President Peter Winnick suddenly announced the visit of a second astronaut, Navy Captain Robert Curbeam. Bob Curbeam holds the record of 4 spacewalks in one flight. It was during mission STS-116 in December 2006.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me tonight. I appreciate it, and I'm very happy to be here with you guys. But back in 1996, through a mutual friend, I was introduced to a man named Bill Caldwell, who used to be the GM here. And I told him about what I was doing, and at the time I was training to be a NASA astronaut. And he said, it was kind of funny because he said, hey, would you be willing to take something into space for the Cosmos Club if, you ever fly in space? And the funny thing was, a few months later, I was assigned my first mission. So it gave me something to take into space. And like Missy was saying, as a naval flight officer, I was kind of superstitious. So I took it up into space the first time in 1997, and being superstitious, I go, well, that mission went pretty well, so I'll take it up again in 2001. And so we flew on STS-85, STS-98, and then I was like, hey, I got one more. Being superstitious, I took it again on STS-116. And so it was packaged back in 1997 for that mission, and I just left it in the bag the whole time, took it up to the last one, and then I told Lance, I said, hey Lance, I got something for the club. And so tonight, I brought this back. It's a Cosmos Club flag. It's packaged in 1997, and it's cut open for the first time tonight. And so I would like to return this flag to you.
I think to myself, what a wonderful